none of us should be here really. We should be sitting in our home enjoying the sunshine like everybody else. But we're here because of this issue. It's often known as the mica crisis. I prefer to call it the defective concrete crisis for reasons based on science. But we know from sort of in and around 2011, 2012, many people in Donegal and in County Mayo started reporting issues with their concrete. The damage was very similar across all the properties. We all know what it looks like. It's sort of spider web cracking, leading to ultimately failure and crumbling. And the outset of that is left basically thousands of people living in fairly unsafe homes that are either structurally damaged very badly, or, as we now know, which is a very big emerging problem, that are full of dampness and mold, which is bad for our lungs. The initial Irish government response to that was that in 2016, the Minister for State, Paddy Coffey, commissioned a desktop study that reported back in June 2017, and this is the report of the expert panel on concrete blocks. Was published in June, and the authors identified that in Donegal that we had effectively high levels of muscovite mica in the concrete, and that led to this idea that mica was causing a freeze thaw issue. Just want to point out that that is an untested idea still today, but they also failed to see that as well as having high levels of muscovite mica, we had very high levels of reactive iron sulfides and mainly pyrrhotite. And in Mayo, it was identified that there was framboidal pyrite. The main thing I want to point out about this, it's been well argued in the public, is that their terms of the remit was set so tight that the engineers and the geologists on that panel were not allowed to sample any concrete and look at it. It was really just a desktop review, and I think that was a missed opportunity, because I often think that if they had done the research that we had done, they probably would have identified correctly what the issue was. The proposed solution from government was effectively this. The National Standards Authority of Ireland were tasked to develop a new standard known as IS 465, and that was basically to test initially homes only in Donegal and Mayo. It's now extended out to different counties, Clare, Sligo and Limerick, and it's thanks to people like John Garrett down there who's been instrumental in delivering that. But, you know, many people here have probably been through this testing protocol where you get concrete samples taken, that's sent off to a petrographic laboratory along with an engineer on tow who comes up with a sort of risk analysis of your concrete. And in Donegal, we get down this route here, which is basically we test for the impacts of mica and everything else is set aside. And then there's a solution that's been given out here. And we know we've got solutions from full demolitions down to blended options that are a range of these options, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As people started to engage with the government scheme in and around 2020, basically this mineral reared its ugly head. And by 2021, many homes were reporting actually, as well as having high levels of mica, there were also fairly high levels of these reactive iron sulfide minerals. And in Donegal, it was mainly pyrrhotite, although there are other examples. There's marcasite too, which is highly reactive as well too. There's chalcopyrite in the concrete. But the main species is pyrrhotite. And this was not allowed by the government to be taken into consideration for assessing anyone's homes. It was still sort of steadfast set that it was based on mica causing freeze thaw. And this has very serious implications for the existing standard IS 465, because basically it means it's missing pyrrhotite in the testing protocols and people are getting a misdiagnosis. It's also very serious for families because it means that they're being offered solutions on the existing standard they're not going to work. It's not looking at the correct diagnosis. And that has been one of the key problems that people have been living with for the last number of years since the scheme opened. So I'll just go back here. So it was really important to try and change the narrative. And one of the key persons who started the process of that was Dr. Ambrose McCluskey, who's one of the engineers on the scheme. He was highlighting very clearly early on that there was more than mica in these homes tested from Donegal, that there was pyrrhotite. There was others involved as well too. I mean, the entire 100% redress campaign, individual campaigners, the different sort of action groups that are here also moved away from talking only about mica and talking about pyrrhotite. myself and Andreas Lehman actually went to the Dáil and gave evidence to the Housing Committee in June 2022, and we highlighted very, very clearly that that we have really a big problem in Donegal. We have reactive iron sulfide minerals, pyrrhotite, particularly causing internal sulfate attack. And we had also been to the European Parliament at an event that Andreas will talk about, where we explained openly to the public that we don't have a mega crisis here. There's something else going on in the concrete that we think is caused by pyrrhotite. So we went to the European Commission. We were actually invited on that. And then we published the first ever peer-reviewed science paper as well too, that Liam said it's won an award. So we've done our best to try and change the narrative away from mica towards the iron sulfide problem. So Andreas is going to talk about this, but this was the sort of framework of research that we did. Department of Housing, based on the sort of the campaign and the change in the narrative in the public, stepped up and actually paid for research to be done. We were awarded €500,000, and it's led and a research partnership with these different people here from EMPA in Switzerland, Canada, which some of our people here in the audience today, University of Connecticut, and Concrete Research and Testing Lab. And we did the most sophisticated tests you can do available worldwide on the concrete, and we have found very clear evidence that we have got internal sulfate attack happening in the concrete. And what we're going to do is pass across to Andreas, who's going to take over from